Hello everyone, I hope you all are doing well. This is a quick guide on how to complete the Glassway Grandmaster Nightfall. I will first show you our loadouts, followed by the strategies. Timestamps are in the description below. This Grandmaster contains overloads and barriers. All three shield types are present throughout the whole GM, so have at least one weapon for each of those. The burn is also void, so bring with you some heavy void weapons or subclasses. Moving on to loadouts, we had a Warlock running Cataclysmic for damage combined with Nezarec's Sin to boost ability regen upon getting void kills. The Hunter ran Stasis for ad control along with Renewal Grasps to buff Duskfield grenades. Finally, the Titan ran Thunder Crash for damage combined with Heart of Inmost Light to boost spam abilities. Moving on to weapons, the Warlock ran Arbalest for stunning barriers, a Void Scout Rifle for stunning overloads along with a Void Heavy Linear for DPS to make the most of the burn. The Hunter ran a Scout Rifle for stunning overloads, a Grenade Launcher for blinding ads as well as a Void Heavy Linear for damage. The Titan ran with a Horde for ad clears, an Arc Bow for stunning barriers, and finally a Void Heavy Linear for damage. Moving on to weapons, starting with the class item. I suggest you run Loosened Finisher so that you can finish with champions for heavy ammo. The second mod that you should be running is Advanced Scout, which makes champions that you stunned take additional damage from your teammates. For leg armor, just run some ammo scavenging mods. For your chest armor, I suggest running a Sniper Resist mod as there will be snipers throughout the whole GM. Also run a Concussive Dampener which will help against the bosses and the wyverns. Remember to equip your champion mods on your gauntlets, and finally for the helmet have some ammo finder mods on. If you have a solar helmet, I suggest you run Ashes to Assets, which will give you super energy upon grenade kills. These are the loadouts that we used. Either copy them or use them to make your own designs. You do not need the same loadouts, subclasses or characters that we have to complete this GM. With that out of the way, let's get straight into it. Once you spawn in, drive to the location and stay at the back. There will be some marauders that will try to rush you. Behind them will be an overload champion which usually hides behind the rocks. Push up a little to spawn the next wave of ads, which will be a combination of Shanks and Vandal snipers. Once you've dealt with them, move up again to this cliff line and have only one person jump down into the next room, but do not go past the rock in front of you. This will spawn a wave of ads including an overload. If you all jump down and push ahead, the second wave including a barrier champion will spawn. Instead, kill the ads, then the overload, and then spawn in the second wave. Continue through the tunnel into the second room where you will face off against a mini boss, an overload, Drex, and sniper vandals. Use the same strategy as in the previous room. Stay at the front of the cave using the rocks around you for cover. Be careful of the snipers that will be sitting on the back right platform. Take out all the minor ads and the overload first, followed by the boss. If you stay at the front, the overload will eventually come to you. Once you've cleared them, another barrier will spawn near the back. If you go too far into the cave, or if you kill the boss first, the barrier will spawn and will protect the overload, prolonging the encounter. Once the overload and boss are dead, then push up into the cave to spawn the last wave of ads and the barrier champion. Proceed forward into the third room where yet again you will need to deal with an overload, mini boss, Shanks, Dregs, Vandal snipers, and a barrier that will once again spawn with a second wave. I suggest splitting into two groups. Two people stay on the right and one person can jump across the cavern to sit behind the rock on the left side. This way you can hit the enemies from two angles without having to fight for room on the right side. Take extra care against the boss because this one will be sniping you and it can one-shot you. Use the same strategy, kill the minor ads, followed by the overload champion and then the mini boss. Once ready, push up into the cave to spawn in the barrier. When you reach this Vex Structure, push up to your left and stay within this area. Shanks, Drex and Vandal snipers will spawn. You can kill the vast majority of them from this position. Once the area is fairly safe, push up to the middle where you will need to deal with two overloads and any surviving Vandal snipers. The first overload will be right in the middle. If you stun it and it falls to its death, don't worry because it will still count towards platinum. The next overload will be to your left, near the back of the structure. Be careful of the two Vandal snipers around it, along with another two snipers right at the end of a room. You have now reached the plate room. There are two strategies to this. Either A, you have one person stay on the plate at all times whilst the other two use you as a decoy, or B, you stay on the plate long enough to spawn ads. You then step off and clear the ads before stepping back on again. Don't worry, you won't lose any progress if you step off the plate. I suggest you go with option B to not get overwhelmed with ads. To the left and the right of the doorway is some cover you can use when dealing with the ads. Among the waves of enemies will be regular and exploding shanks, along with sniper and mini boss shanks. There will also be some vandal snipers sitting up on the far left and right sides of a room above you. If you do it correctly, the ads will only be spawning on one side of a room at a time. Step on the plate, step off to kill the ads, rinse and repeat. Once the plate is complete, use this high ground to dispose of the ads in front of you along the overload, which will usually be on the right side at the bottom. You can then slowly push up into the room using the walls for cover whilst taking out the shanks, dregs and vandal snipers. As you begin to clear the room, the vandal snipers will begin to jump down from the ledges on the right and left towards the back of the room. Be careful though, because once you hit the halfway point, a barrier will spawn right in the middle. Take your time and do not overextend, because even with a sniper resist and 100 resilience, you can get one-shotted by a sniper point blank range. You are now in the boss room. This strategy will be long and tedious, so I will break it down into steps. Make sure to follow it as closely as possible and as a team. First, clear the room in front of you of the dregs and the overload. Then go to the left side of the room. You'll be staying here for the majority of the encounter. Step 1. The boss along the mini Hydra boss called the Transcendent Hydra will spawn at the back. There will be some minor ads and 2 overloads. The room has 3 entrances, left, middle and the right side. Make sure you are all roughly near the middle hallway. If you use the other entrances, you will lure the ads into those. It's better to lure them into the middle hallway choke point where you can crush them. Damage the Transcendent Hydra a little bit, or just leave it alone for now. Your first priority are the 2 overloads. Lure them into the room and deal with them ASAP. Don't worry too much about the boss, it will stay on the outside. Step 2. Lower the health of the Transcendent Hydra until it loses half a bar of health. This will spawn another 2 overloads. If you can, try to remove the full health bar to make it teleport. Otherwise you can do it later. Use the center hallway, channel the 2 overloads inside and use the narrow space to dispose of them. It is ideal for supers, grenades and wither hordes. Once done, make sure the Transcendent Hydra is gone if you haven't damaged it already. Then go to the left hallway. If you crouch in the middle whilst facing the hallway, the boss will slowly rotate to it. You can then use this little gap in the top ceiling to damage the boss without the boss being able to hit you back. Damage the boss until it loses a full bar of health. Step 3. The Transcendent Hydra will spawn along with 2 barriers, 2 wyverns and arc-shielded harpies. Once again, use the center hallway to dispose of the wyverns, but remember to not damage the Transcendent Hydra too much. The barriers will always stay outside the room, so you can leave those 2 till last. They are perfect for doing finishers on if you are low on heavy ammo. The arc harpies will sometimes enter, so keep checking your flanks just in case. Then damage the Transcendent Hydra again until it is on half health. This will spawn another 2 wyverns, 2 barriers and arc shielded harpies. Try to damage the Transcendent Hydra enough to force teleport it. Again, use the center hallway to dispose of the ads followed by the 2 barriers. Some people like to use the side hallways to kill the ads in the spawn. The issue with that strategy is if the boss blocks your way. As soon as you kill the last barrier, the boss will spawn again. Moving on to step number 4. The boss, 2 overloads and some ads will spawn apart from the Transcendent for now. Same strategy, use the center hallway to lure the overloads in for easy kills. Once the ads are dead, use the left side to damage the boss. This time only take half a bar of health until the boss is on half health, because another 2 overloads will spawn. And yes, that's right, you have guessed it, center hallway yet again. Once cleared, go back to damaging the boss until it is on its last health bar. Step number 5, the last step. 2 wyverns, Transcendent Hydra, arc harpies and 2 barrier champions will spawn. Lure the ads in, and this time you have 2 options. Either leave the Transcendent Hydra alone or kill it. Once it loses half a bar of health, another wave of 2 wyverns, 2 barriers and ads will spawn. We chose to kill it. We then had to deal with 4 wyverns, but if you all have your supers you can make short work of them. The 4 barrier champions on the outside will stay on the edges and around the Vex pond. The boss too will be floating around outside. Once the ads are dead, focus on the last 4 barriers. Use the corners to block your view range of the barriers so that you can single them out one by one. When the last of the ads are dead, all that is left is to kill the boss. There'll be no more ad spawns or champions, so take away that last bar of health using your supers and heavies. And there you have it, that is how you complete the Glassway Nightfall on Grandmaster difficulty. If you have found the video to be helpful, then please like, share and post a comment. Don't forget to subscribe for more Destiny 2 guides. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time.